G'day, I'm Nev Sweeney and this is Under the Choco Tree. Today I want to talk to you about making your own Bokashi bin. Bokashi is a means of composting your organic waste, so your veggie scraps, but even takes meat and fish and a few other bits and pieces. The idea being it's anaerobic, it stays in a container without oxygen, and you put in there a bacterium, an effective microorganism that effectively ferments it. So one of the good things is that you don't get that sort of disgusting rotting smell. If you do, you're not putting enough Bokashi stuff in there, but we'll talk about that. And because it's so contained and because it's everything's closed up, you can have it in a flat, you can keep it in your kitchen. We had ours in the kitchen for a little while, and by the time it's all processed, it looks the same, but it has a fermented odour. It's an odour of its own. Some people don't like it. I don't find it objectionable at all, and certainly it's nowhere near as bad as the if you've got a compost bin that goes anaerobic, that sort of hydrogen sulfide smell. It's nothing like that. So you can go into the hardware or various places and buy yourself a Bokashi bin for $70 or $80, or you can have a look at the way I do it, try it yourself, and with a bit of luck maybe even get it for less than $10. So I'll show you how it works now. The Bokashi bin is based on a couple of 20-litre buckets. With a bit of luck you can get these free or very, very cheaply, $2 or $3 recycled, because other people produce materials. There was a hardware shop a little bit away from our place where the guy would have them for $3 each, and a friend of his used them to get cheese curd in, and once they're empty he had no use for them, so we'd sell them off. I'd buy them and do lots of things with them. You can buy them brand new, but like I say, if you can manage it, the best thing is to get them second hand. Especially make sure that you get a lid with it as well. You do need two, because one will go inside the other. The idea being we're going to put some holes in the bottom of this, and the material, as things decompose, then you get a need for drainage. So the water and bacteria and stuff will drain into the bottom, keeping the rest of the material dry so it can continue its work. So the first thing we're going to do is drill some holes into the bottom of this. The size of hole really doesn't matter, the material is going to drain anyway. I use about a 1/4 inch drill. So there you can see a whole stack of holes. This is the inner bucket, which contains the materials of the Bokashi. The outer bucket will hold anything that drains out of these holes. So currently the outer bucket is just as we bought it, but what we want to do is put a tap in there so that we can drain off any of the liquid. The liquid contains good bacteria, so you can put it on your veggie patch just as it is, and it will provide nutrients as well as good biota. So the idea is going to drill a hole towards the bottom, bit in the side, insert this, get a 3/4 inch or 20mm plastic nut, cut it in half. You find it in the irrigation section of the hardware, and then that will screw on and secure this in the side of the bucket. To put the hole in, I've got a 22mm spade bit, and that will make the hole. So it's a little bit messy, but that's our spade bit hole. The 22mm hole was just a tad too small, so I got my round file out and just increased the size a little bit. Here you can see that I've screwed in the tap, and inside you can see where the nut is attached, holding it in place. Now that works really well, But if you're going to have it anywhere sensitive, like anywhere inside, silicone is my friend. So I'd put a little bit of a bead of silicone around there just to be absolutely sure that you don't get any of the material leaking out and causing a problem. Okay, so that's the inner bucket is now finished. The outer one has the tap in place. We've got our lid, which goes over the top and keeps oxygen out. But we also have a second lid, and there's a good reason for having a second lid, because we're going to need something to push down. Once you put in about 10 centimeters of material that you want to compost into here, and you want to push it down so you're getting the most of the air out, because it's an anaerobic process. And so we need to have a pusher, for want of a better term, and that's what we do with the second lid. So I cut the rim off it. You could use a hacksaw. I've got a little bandsaw, and so I used that to give us the flat part of the pusher. We also though need to have some timber put on here, so we've got something to keep it from flexing and to use to push with. So I cut a couple of lumps of about 19 by 35 timber. It doesn't really matter how big it is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some of the timber out so we form a cross, and then I'm going to screw that onto there. So we'll do that now. So using a tape measure, I found the midpoint and mark it out by putting the other piece of timber roughly over the middle, drawing a couple of lines. So then what I'll do is cut down halfway. Do the same on this side so they'll fit together. So using a saw, cut down in here, then with a wood chisel, took out the waste on both sides so they fit together to make a cross that I can now apply to the cutout lid. Okay, so 4 screws later and we're ready to go. So that basically completes the construction of the Bokashi bin. This goes in here, pushes down to the bottom, compresses the material that you're trying to compost, and then as you fill it up, so the best way to do it is to fill it up about 10 centimeters at a time. Give a goodly dispersion of the Bokashi material, which looks rather like sawdust, and you can buy from hardware shops. So you put that in, then when you've got enough, put another 10 centimeters, another good load of Bokashi until the bin is full. Then apply the lid and leave it for 2 weeks. So that allows the fermentation process to go on right through the bin. That's why it's handy to have 2 of these. So while one is waiting its 2 weeks, you can be filling up the other one. Once it's all finished, what you can do is remove it. You can put it directly into the garden. You can put it into your worm farm. You can put it into another composter if you want, not that you have to. One lady I know who grows a lot of veggies and stuff in pots, she gets some of the Bokashi, puts that in the bottom of the pot, and then plants the material on top of it. So it's easy enough to do. It can save you quite a bit of cash, and if you're using material that's going to be thrown away anyway, that's a great way of doing things. So well worth having a go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.